The movie opens in the autumn of 1988. The first scene is captivating. On the morning of October 2nd, a young boy named Donnie Darko wakes up in the middle of a road, disoriented after a night of sleepwalking. With a sense of confusion, Donnie takes in his surroundings and then rides his bicycle back to his home in a small Virginia town, returning to his family who appears unfazed by his overnight absence. That evening, the Darko household is lively during dinner. The family, consisting of Donnie's parents, Eddie and Rose, and his sisters, Elizabeth and Samantha, engage in typical family banter. The dinner conversation soon veers towards politics, sparking a debate between Elizabeth and Eddie. Rose suggests Elizabeth consider Harvard for college, shifting the discussion's tone. Amidst this, Donnie, known for his odd behavior, makes an inappropriate joke aimed at Samantha, resulting in a heated argument with Elizabeth. The tension escalates later that night, as Rose confronts Donnie about his unexplained disappearance. Donnie defensively suggests that Rose should try taking his psychiatric medications, hinting at his frustration with being misunderstood. Rose, troubled by the exchange, retreats to discuss Donnie's behavior with Eddie. As night falls, Eddie, unable to sleep, watches TV in the living room, while Donnie is awakened upstairs by a strange, disembodied voice. Curious and compelled, Donnie sleepwalks past his sleeping father and ventures outside into the night. He follows the voice to a local golf course, where he encounters a bizarre figure dressed in a rabbit costume. This eerie figure introduces itself to Donnie and ominously predicts the end of the world in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. The next day, Donnie awakens on the golf course with strange numbers written on his arm and a marker in hand. He returns home to find his home swarming with onlookers and officials due to a jet engine that crashed into his room. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, becomes involved, providing the family with accommodations, repair funds, and a non-disclosure agreement, while admitting that they have no clue about the jet engine's origin. In the hotel room, Donnie's younger sister, Samantha, inquires about the jet engine, but is dismissed by the older siblings. In another room, Donnie's parents recall a troubling incident from their high school involving a classmate's death after a paranoid episode, fearing a similar fate for Donnie. The following day, Donnie and Samantha meet their friends, including Ronald, Sean, Joni, and Sharita. The girls are curious about the jet engine incident, while Donnie's friends offer him a cigarette. A confrontation arises when Donald mocks Sharita, but Donnie intervenes in her defense. At school during an English class discussing Graham Greene's The Destructors, Donnie suggests that destruction can be a form of creation, reflecting his desire for change. A new student, Gretchen, joins the class and is asked to sit beside the boy she finds most attractive. She chooses Donnie, marking the beginning of a deeper connection. Later, while driving to see his psychiatrist, Donnie's father, Eddie, vents about the FAA's lack of information regarding the jet engine. On their way, they narrowly avoid hitting an elderly woman standing in the road. Donnie approaches her, and she whispers something mysterious to him. In his session with Dr. Thurman, Donnie recounts his encounter with the figure in the rabbit costume, who he's named Frank. Frank had told him about the impending end of the world, a notion Donnie struggles to believe. The next day, during a class video about overcoming fears, Donnie hears Frank's voice again, prompting him to pay close attention. That night, Donnie sleepwalks again, influenced by Frank, and ends up damaging the school's water main with an axe. The next morning, the school is abuzz with news of the flooding, and an axe is found embedded in the school's mascot statue, accompanied by the message, "They made me do it." Donnie's complex relationship with a new student, Gretchen, develops as they share their personal histories. Gretchen has moved with her mother to escape an abusive stepfather, and Donnie reveals his past arrest for arson. He later asks Gretchen out, and she accepts. During therapy, Donnie speaks under hypnosis about various topics, including Gretchen and actress Christina Applegate, The session is abruptly ended by Dr. Thurman, his psychiatrist. Back at school, police investigate the vandalism, and Donnie becomes a suspect due to his handwriting. A confrontation occurs between Donnie and Seth, a school bully, in the bathroom. The story then shifts to an encounter with an old woman, Grandma Death, who's often seen wandering the road and checking her empty mailbox. An emergency meeting at the school addresses the flooding and the vandalism. The gym teacher, Mrs. Katie Farmer, controversially links these acts to the Destructors, a story taught in Donnie's English class. She argues that the novel's themes inspire the vandalism and calls for its removal from the curriculum. In his bathroom, Donnie encounters the mysterious figure Frank, who assures him that his role in the school's flooding will remain a secret. When Donnie attempts to approach Frank, he finds himself blocked by an invisible barrier. Frank cryptically warns Donnie of impending danger and brings up the concept of time travel. During a school poetry day, Donnie recites a poem about Frank and confronts Mrs. Farmer during an attitude lesson. This leads to a meeting between Donnie's parents and the principal. Despite Mrs. Farmer's concerns, Donnie's parents are not overly worried, though they agree to suspend his after-school activities. On October 10th, Donnie delves into the theories of time travel with his science teacher, Dr. Monatoff, who gives him a book titled The Philosophy of Time Travel, authored by Roberta Sparrow, also known as Grandma Death. In therapy, Donnie discusses Roberta Sparrow and his conversations with Frank about time travel. He reveals a haunting memory of his childhood dog's death and his fear of being alone. Later, Donnie visualizes bubbles emerging from his family, dictating their movements, and discovers a gun in his parents' closet. His relationship with Gretchen develops as they discuss reversing time. Dr. Thurman suggests Donnie might have paranoid schizophrenia, evidenced by his hallucinations and fixation on Frank. At a school assembly hosted by Jena Cunningham, Donnie disrupts the event with crude statements, earning student cheers but adult shock. Donnie's obsession with Roberta Sparrow's book leads him and Gretchen to visit her home, where they feel her presence. They also discover Jim Cunningham's wallet, gaining insight into his personal life. Gretchen and Donnie's romance deepens after a confrontation during their science presentation, leading to an impulsive kiss from Gretchen. That night at the movies, Donnie talks with Frank, who reveals his human identity and hints at a destructive path for Donnie. Alone, Donnie leaves the cinema with a plan forming in his mind as the narrative weaves its intricate and mysterious story. The film's unsettling atmosphere intensifies as Donnie, influenced by Frank, the mysterious rabbit figure, commits an act of arson against Jim Cunningham's house. Unbeknownst to everyone, including Samantha's dance group performing at the school's talent show, Donnie sets Jim's house on fire. The next day, Donnie candidly shares his concerns about his mental health with his father, Eddie. Eddie, offering reassurance and support, encourages Donnie to freely express his thoughts, bolstering Donnie's confidence. The repercussions of Donnie's actions become apparent when firefighters extinguishing the fire at Jim's house uncover disturbing materials involving minors, leading to Jim's arrest. This revelation sends shockwaves through the community. Meanwhile, Miss Pomeroy, Donnie's English teacher, is inexplicably fired, leaving a void in the school's faculty. The dance group, coached by Mrs. Farmer, receives an invitation to perform in California, but Mrs. Farmer's elation is short-lived as she learns of Jim's arrest. In one of her final classes, Miss Pomeroy uses rabbits from Watership Down as a metaphor for human existence. Donnie, however, challenges this analogy, sparking a discussion with Gretchen, who suggests that the rabbits in the novel carry the author's emotions. The narrative takes a personal turn when Mrs. Farmer asks Rose Darko, Donnie's mother, to chaperone the dance group's trip to California. Rose agrees, despite her distress over a disturbing sketch that she finds in Donnie's room. Donnie, sensing his mother's concerns, seeks reassurance about her feelings towards him, to which she responds with love and affirmation. As Rose and Samantha prepare for their trip, Elizabeth, Donnie's sister, is accepted into Harvard, prompting Donnie to suggest a Halloween party to celebrate. Meanwhile, Donnie continues his exploration of time travel and the mysteries surrounding Roberta Sparrow or Grandma Death, visiting Dr. Thurman for another therapy session. Under hypnosis, Donnie confesses his recent crimes and his compulsion to follow Frank's instructions. His session ends in a chilling moment when he imagines Frank in the room, leading to a discussion about the impending end of the world. On the night of October 29th, the Halloween party at Donnie's house brings further turmoil. Gretchen arrives, distraught over her missing mother and fearing her stepfather's involvement. Donnie comforts her, and they share a passionate moment. However, the evening takes a dark turn as Donnie is plagued by disturbing visions. He leads Gretchen, Ronald, and Sean to Roberta Sparrow's house, entering through the cellar door. The night's events escalate dramatically when they're ambushed by school bullies Seth and Ricky. In the ensuing chaos, Gretchen is tragically hit by a car swerving to avoid Roberta, who appears on the road. Seth releases Donnie and flees the scene, leaving Donnie to confront the aftermath of the tragic accident. The plot reaches its climax with a sequence of tragic and surreal events. Following the car accident, two boys emerge from the vehicle, including Frank, who appears as just an average teenager. Overcome with grief and shock, Donnie, armed with the gun he previously took from his parents' room, coldly shoots Frank in the eye. Frank's friend, witnessing the horrific scene, flees in panic. Roberta Sparrow, also known as Grandma Death, approaches Donnie at this moment. Having received the letter that he sent her, she cryptically warns him of an impending storm and urges him to hurry. In a state of turmoil, Donnie carries Gretchen's lifeless body back to his house. Driven by a mix of despair and determination, he places her body in the passenger seat of his parents' car and drives to a ridge overlooking the town. There, he witnesses a dark, ominous vortex forming in the sky, gradually descending over his house. Donnie, laughing in a mixture of hopelessness and realization, watches as the vortex grows, leading to the destruction of the plane carrying Rose and Samantha. As he gazes at Gretchen's face, Donnie reflects on the events of the past 28 days, replaying them in his mind. He thinks about the letter he wrote to Roberta, expressing his fear that the time travel book might be real and his hope for something meaningful in a world facing its end. In a twist of fate, Donnie finds himself back in his bedroom on October 2nd, laughing at the realization that he's had a chance to alter the past and save Gretchen. In this alternate reality, Donnie stays in bed, accepting his fate as the jet engine falls into his room, crushing him. The film illustrates the ripple effect of Donnie's actions on those who would have had life-changing experiences with him in the alternate timeline. They wake up from their dreams, including the real Frank, profoundly affected by the surreal events. The next morning, in this reset timeline, Gretchen, who never met Donnie, bikes past the Darko house. She sees Donnie's body being removed, but feels no connection to him or his family. As she waves to Rose, there's no recognition between them. The movie concludes with this deep and haunting scene, leaving viewers to ponder the intricate web of time, choices, and consequences that define our lives. That one was creepy. Do you think Donnie made the right choice by staying in the room to be crushed by the engine? Do you kind of feel bad for him, or do you think it was the right thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And hey, if you want to see another movie recap, then make sure you click that video that's on screen now. Thank you guys for watching all the way until the end. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.